speaking of anti-immigrant nonsense, let's talk about Donald Trump. I guess I'm keeping the hat. The United States, the country that Canada is always trying to be as crazy as, really continues to outdo itself. As President-elect Donald Trump recently announced that he would be going through with his proposed 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican products when he takes office. You know, the thing he said he was gonna do the whole time while campaigning for election. The weird thing though is that initially the tariffs were supposed to be about increasing federal revenue and protecting manufacturing jobs in the United States. And now he's saying it's a border control thing. And you know, if Trump can make it anti-immigrant, he will. He'll find a way. He's basically saying if Canada and Mexico want to stop the tariffs, they have to do reverse border control, stopping illegal immigration and drug smuggling into the United States, which is interesting because obviously countries usually do their own border control, not threaten other countries into doing it for them. Like, it's a pretty aggressive policy, especially for the US to do to, you know, neighbors and allies like Mexico and Canada. And most Canadian politicians are pretty upset about this, including Doug Ford, who says it feels like a family member has stabbed him in the heart.
It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart?
Which, honestly, he's probably experienced. I'm sure impromptu stabbings are just standard procedure during Ford family get-togethers. Like, someone smokes a little too much crack, pulls out a knife. I could see it. But let's see what else Doug said.
Last night at 6:35, we received the biggest threat we've ever received from our closest friends and ally, from President-elect Trump, that they're threatening to put a 25% tariff on all goods coming across the border into the U.S. and Mexico. What I found unfair about the comments is to compare us to Mexico. And I can tell you, Canada is no Mexico.
Okay, not sure what that means or why it's unfair to be compared to another country, but I'm getting rid of the hat in case he's doing a racism, because I'm not going to be associated with that. Let's continue.
I found his comments unfair. I found them insulting. It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart. I spent a lot of time in the U.S., and I have yet to talk to one American that has any issue with Canadians.
Oh, okay. I get it now. He is doing a racism.
Listen, folks, all my American friends are racist to Mexicans, but none are racist to Canadians. So why am I being grouped in with Mexicans?
But despite feeling like he got stabbed by a family member, Doug pretty much just folded to Trump's demands and said he would indeed attempt to secure the border.
I had a conversation with the Prime Minister after he spoke to President-elect Trump last night. The threat is serious. We need to do better on our borders. We need to give the resources to CBSA, which are fine people. And I know, talking to other premiers last night, that we will do everything we can as provincial governments and territorial governments to secure our borders. When it comes to drugs, 1 ounce of any illegal drug is 1 ounce too many going back and forth across the border. 1 illegal going across the border back and forth is 1 too many illegals.
Super cringe describing people as illegals. Like, even saying illegal immigrant feels pretty gross, but just shortening it to illegals is, yikes. But even more cringe, known drug dealer Doug Ford taking such a strong stance against international drug trafficking. I sure hope all that hash you were selling in high school was locally produced, Doug. Nobody let Doug Ford cross the border. The future of Canada's exports may depend on it. All right, let's keep going.
The Prime Minister confirmed today that we're going to have a First Minister's meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. We need to make sure that he has a strong plan to protect and secure our borders and make sure we address the threat from the U.S. But again, we're the closest allies and friends the Americans have.
No, actually, that's Mexico, the country you were insulted to be compared to. So maybe Doug is right that Canada is no Mexico. Maybe Mexico should be insulted to be compared to small potatoes Canada over here. Someone not insulted by the comments, but rather completely on board and willing to help Big Daddy Trump do whatever it takes to secure the border and make her province seem even more like America Junior, is Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. Unwilling to denounce Trump's comments or even acknowledge them as threatening as Doug Ford did, Danielle, who plans to attend Trump's inauguration ceremony in Washington, has promised to patrol the Alberta-Montana border to keep America happy, saying, "We need to address the issues. We can't downplay them, and we can't play the yeah, but game, and we can't pretend that the economic interests are going to override those very legitimate interests." Again, doing the characteristically fiscal conservative thing of ignoring fiscal conservatism to focus exclusively on social conservative issues. So much so that she's willing to focus on the social conservative issues of a different fucking country rather than the economic issues of her own province, and even use provincial money and resources to help. Like, it's more important to signal to the anti-immigrant orangutan that we're anti-immigrant too than it is to stand up for our own economic interests, despite nearly 90% of Alberta's exports going to America. Oh, you want to fuck up our economy? How can I help? Like, it does a lot to indicate the political state of Alberta when our premier makes Doug Ford's response seem kind of reasonable. Even when like 3/4 of it was just being anti-Mexican for no reason. I hate it here. Basically, I hate it here. I mean, even Pierre Poilievre, who's basically Trump Jr., or Temu Trump, as I've seen people calling him lately, which is hilarious. Like, I'm mad I didn't come up with that. Hey mom, can we have Trump? We have Trump at home. Even that idiot acknowledged the tariffs as unfair and said Canada should retaliate if necessary. And didn't say that that retaliation would include securing their border for them. Because even the dumbest guy around thinks that's a dumb fucking idea. I am begging the provincial conservatives to stop making the federal conservatives look reasonable. Like, that shouldn't even be possible. But Pierre Poilievre can't maintain the illusion of reasonability for long. If it ever seems like he's being reasonable, you just have to let him talk for long enough to completely undo any progress he pretends to have made. Because just recently, Pierre Poilievre also had the bright idea to completely undermine international law as it pertains to the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Pierre's comments, which we'll listen to in just a second here, come after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said that he would respect international law, particularly that of the International Criminal Court, who is seeking the arrest and subsequent trial of Netanyahu for apparent war crimes he sanctioned in Palestine. Seems reasonable, right? The Prime Minister acknowledging the International Criminal Court, for which Canada is a signatory, and recognizing their legal authority? Well, apparently it's not that simple. Because I guess a world leader deciding to follow international law is somehow controversial, especially to Pierre Poilievre, who believes Canada should not respect the International Criminal Court, the ICC, and even go a step further and just start arresting random guys unrelated to the situation. Let's have a listen.
What was your reaction to Justin Trudeau's reaction to the ICC decision and implying the Prime Minister of a Democratic ally, Israel, would be arrested if he stepped on Canadian soil? What did you think of that?
It just shows once again how extreme Justin Trudeau has become.
Yeah, recognizing international law. So extreme. I thought this was the stop the crime guy. Stop the crime. No, not like that.
He wants to arrest the Prime Minister of Israel, while he would not commit to the same for the Ayatollah of Iran.
Yeah, good point. Why wouldn't Justin Trudeau arrest the Ayatollah of Iran? Oh, hey, I know. Maybe because the Ayatollah of Iran isn't wanted by the ICC, you stupid fuck. Pierre Poilievre is literally asking why Justin Trudeau doesn't just make up his own international law. Even if we did arrest the Ayatollah of Iran, it's not like we could hand him over to the ICC because, again, He's not wanted by the ICC. I guess we could, like, take him as a prisoner of war. A war that would be started by arresting the Ayatollah of Iran. What the actual fuck? What is Pierre proposing here?
It's another example of how radical Justin Trudeau is, how this extreme woke agenda, it permeates everything he does.
Yes. Another example of how woke means absolutely nothing. Woke is when you won't arrest a world leader without legal precedent to do so.
All right, thanks for watching. If you don't already, please consider supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/CallumXOXOX. And if you do, thank you so much. You're the best. So if you see your name flashing across the screen, or if it's about to flash across the screen, just know that your support hugely helps me in continuing to make these videos, whether you're an active supporter or just taking a little break or have decided just you're done with it. Whatever the case may be, thank you so much. Huge help. And yeah, till next time.